Welcome back to another episode of the New Era Nerds podcast. It's me, Tommy, here with my co-host Logan. Today we are breaking down and going over Loki episode 5, the penultimate episode of the Loki series, and then we will also be giving our Loki episode 6, the finale predictions and what we think is going to happen. So we have a super packed episode for you today. This thing is chock full of Easter eggs. I mean, this was literally a Marvel Easter egg hunt today, and it was absolutely incredible. So we'll get into the socials at the end of it. But before we get started, just don't forget that we are doing the $50 Amazon gift card giveaway. All you have to do to enter that is subscribe, like this video, and then comment done and something about the video that you liked. So make sure to do that. Comment along with us this whole journey, anything you found, anything that we missed, and what you think is going to happen in the finale. So all that good stuff. Come along with us. Logan, I know you're excited to talk about this. Let's get into it.
What in the hell is going on, man? What in the hell is going on? I guess we're going to talk about this episode, right?
Yes. We have, well, yeah, we have to.
I don't know. I looked at my roommate Brennan after this, and I kind of just, my jaw hit the floor, and I'm like, where is this going? And I ran straight to my computer and just started furiously typing away what's going on. This was an awesome episode, and Hiddleston was right. This was probably, well, I mean, definitely the best episode of the series so far. I think you probably agree with me. It's just, things are starting, we're rolling into the third act now. Incredible episode, just brass tacks, everything, just boiling it down to everything. It was an amazing episode of television.
Yeah, absolutely. So we open up with an incredibly ominous, trippy scene where the camera's all twisting and turning. There's some really intense, creepy music. It goes into the room where the timekeepers were. We see the decapitated machine, and then it goes over, and now we're with Sylvie and Ravonna again, where they have the interaction where it seems like Ravona's trying to play her way into this, play it cool, and try to trick Sylvie into somehow killing her or arresting her. Obviously, Sylvie sees right through it. She ends up pruning herself to get to this void where we find out that is where Loki and, spoiler alerts, Mobius is back.
My boy.
Let's go. I honestly thought going in that this was only going to be a place where like only Loki's went, or by the way, they made it sound that only Loki survived. However, we find out that literally anything that gets pruned here, whether it's people or timelines, gets sent here. And another huge drop, Eliath just gets to absolutely consume things. So those are all things that happen later on. Now, just moving forward really quick, because we want to get really into the meat and potatoes of the theories and predictions for the finale. So plot-wise, we get to meet a lot of the other Loki variants. We get to learn a lot about them. And then ultimately, they form this plan. We see Mobius rescue Sylvie. They end up meeting up. Awesome moments there. We get some awesome character development between everybody. And then, of course, Logan at the end, we see them what appears to be heading towards to whoever lives beyond the end of time.
So yeah, and I thought that was super interesting. And I wanted to admit I was wrong last week. I thought classic Loki was going to be our comic relief for the episode. And Alligator Loki absolutely stole the show. Loved him. He did great. Why did the camera keep panning to him every 30 seconds? I think something tells me.
Dude, they gave him dialogue. They gave the alligator dialogue. Like, he just growled, and it was just like, the subtitles literally said alligator growls.
And like you were saying last week, usually, you watch the subtitles, you pick up on, little things, and they were like alligator growls. That's what you're getting.
Yeah.
It was, and it was awesome. I thought it was, I think that my wildest theory is that Alligator Loki is the all-powerful, all-knowing being behind everything. And he's just hiding in the shadows. But Yeah, and so we get a lot of really cool things, and like I said, I thought that classic Loki was going to be the comic relief, and he was kind of the sad and somber one, more serious. He'd seen a lot of
Hmm.
shit. He was tired of being in the void. He'd probably been there for a long time, and we find out
Right.
he lived a really rough life. He found he kind of found out that every kind of found out the same thing that every other Loki found out, was that wherever, like he said, wherever I go, pain follows. Um, so, and every other Loki found that out a little less than him, I would say, because they didn't live to the age that he did. Um,
Right.
Thought it was awesome.
Yeah. Just sticking on old Loki really quick because there's
Yeah,
a huge, massively huge plot point that he dropped on us, and that was how his Nexus event happened. And our Loki that we know that escaped from the first Avengers 2012 timeline saw that in the future he was going to die by Thanos. And it sounds like they all kind of were supposed to die at the hands of Thanos. That was just ultimately what they were there for. Our Loki says, well, didn't you try to kill Thanos? And he's like, no, I projected myself and disguised myself as a piece of debris on the ship and then projected myself trying to kill him. And then I just kind of drifted away and hid in space for pretty much forever.
which is awesome.
So
That's
is the Loki from Infinity War still alive and just out there?
huh,
Could it be that he was living his timeline now and like that's exactly what he did?
dude.
Because that's right where my brain went was like, well, what if that's what he did in Infinity War? And this whole time they knew that
Yeah.
they were gonna have this show, and then sometime later we're gonna see that Loki down the road. He's still out there.
Wow. I didn't. My brain didn't even go there. Holy
Yeah,
shnikes. We'll have to do some Googling on that one. But I doubt, I
yeah.
haven't seen
I
anything on that. I've been on my computer for the last, got home at work at 4:30, started immediately. So I've been sitting here for 3 plus, or not 3 plus hours, 2.5 hours, just furiously Googling shit. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, dude. And like at this point in the Loki that we're following's life, he might not be as skilled at this projection,
right.
that type of magic, but up at that point in Infinity War, he may have been.
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely.
he would have had a lot more experience and things like that to be able to do that. So I don't know. That's just one thing I was like, holy shit, like is
Oh
our
my God.
is the Loki we know, did he do that? So that was a huge plot point for me that stuck out, other than the very obvious main plot points of finding out what is beyond the end of time.
I had a point and I forgot about it.
All
Forgot
right.
about it.
Awesome.
I forgot about
So
it. So thanks for coming, everybody. We're off.
yeah, cool episode. So obviously there's a lot of good, you know, dialogue between characters and a lot of good character building in this. Now, one thing that I've seen on the internet a lot, and you can talk to this too, of course, if you've seen it, is that the conversation between Loki and Sylvie when she asks at the very end of this, are you just going to betray me? And
Right.
then Loki gives this great monologue of all the people I've known before, I've loved, and I've betrayed, and I know why. And I know that that's not me anymore, pretty much. No, I'm not going to betray you. Doing a really good job of making us feel like, yes, like this Loki has turned the corner, he's changed, all of that. But a lot of people are saying it's taking us away from the fact that Sylvie is setting herself up to betray him in the end.
Huh. And you know what? I thought it was funny that he didn't ask the same question. And which would have played into her favor, and kind of like we were talking about. I think it was when they were on Lamentus One. We're going, hey, somebody's tricking somebody here, and
Mhm.
somebody's pulling some strings. So could
Yeah.
I mean and that was another thing that, yeah, I did see reading today was, is she tricking him? Or I mean, he could still be tricking her, because we've known Loki to give some great trust me, we can do this together, put all your faith in me. He's been known to give those speeches thousands and thousands of times. So,
Right.
and also the I've changed, that's his shtick. He's the god of mischief. Where,
He really said, "I'm not like other Lokis."
right. I won't break your heart, baby girl. I'm not like other Lokis.
Yeah, no, I honestly, I don't think it's setting up any betrayal for either of them because I do think this Loki is telling the truth in this. And then at the beginning of the episode, when they're in the judge's chambers with Ravonna and Sylvie, she says, "Hey, if you just sacrifice yourself now, like surrender, I'll put you in a good memory time loop forever. So you could just live a good memory out for the rest of your days." And she goes, "Do you even have any good memories?" And Sylvie goes, "Only one, I think." And I think she was talking about the moment on Lamentus
Oh,
One. I think
absolutely.
that's what that was supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 100% agree.
So
Because
that's kind of why I don't think her saying, "Are you going to betray me?" was trying to feel out what he was going to say because she's planning on it. I don't think she's planning on it.
no, I think she just wanted to make sure before she carried out this swan song of a plan, or kind of like we've been saying, half court shots. She just wants to make sure he's 100% with her, and he's not gonna turn his back on her, because I feel like at multiple points throughout this series he probably could have just turned his back on her, and said see you later and kissed her goodbye. So
Right.
why wait until now? I mean, I well, unless I guess he wanted to get there. The only way he could get there was with her, but I truly believe he probably could have done it on his own. Um, so yeah, I agree
Right.
with you. I don't think this is anybody has a plot or a ploy. I think this is
Now
them.
I'll save it for later,
Okay,
but I do think there is going to be a Loki betrayal, but I'll save that for later when we get into something else. So
alligator Loki's gonna betray them, and
he just might.
they were thinking that he wasn't behind everything the whole time, and he is. So I get it. I know.
You
We
were
already
right. Yeah,
talked.
you were right. It's that simple. No, but yeah, so their big, swan song plan is to enchant Alioth. Now, this is
Wild.
obviously Alioth's first introduction to the MCU. Logan, what do you know about Alioth? Or
Uh,
also, what have you learned?
okay, so prior to today, I did not know much about him, I will admit. However, as I've mentioned, I've been on my computer, and as you guys know, I'm not a comic book guy. I have never been a comic book guy, so I don't have the background. However, I do know that he first appeared in a comic series with the man himself, the man and woman herself themselves, Kang the Conqueror and Ravonna Renslayer. So I don't know much more about that, but I know that he's kind of more powerful than Kang the
Yes,
Conqueror, is he not?
yes. And that is what confused me. So I'm not super familiar. I had to do some refreshing today. So going through it, the way that like they explain him online is like he's significantly more powerful than King the Conqueror.
Right.
He pretty much, it's like Kang is like a big fish in a little pond, whereas Alioth is the biggest fish in the biggest pond. So he's the first creature to take themselves away from the existence of time. He's the first one to time travel and conquer all of that. So his like reign and hold on the time travel world is, they explain it like as 2 to 3 times larger than what Kang's is.
Which absolutely
So
blows my mind.
it's nuts. And they also explain it why that's the reason that Kang only went as far back as like 2000 BC to ancient Egypt, because Alioth had the hold on everything past that. So pretty much it's like Alioth lets Kang have his little fun in this corner of the time travel world while he has the rest of the room.
Well, and it's funny because looking back on it, is they were kind of um treating Eliath as the guard dog to whoever was running things, which what
Right. And
we
that was
even
that confused me. That
right.
confused me. So it throws me for a loop as to, is it actually going to be Kang at the end?
But I guess we'll find that out. But
I know. Well, especially because, obviously they've been setting it up this entire time. And this episode alone just had a ton of Kang Easter eggs.
oh,
So,
absolutely, with
like,
Kang Tower, right? As we all thought in the end of episode 4, we're like, oh shit, hey, that's Avengers Tower. But um, in
yeah,
my
it's actually
research,
Kang Tower spelled
right?
Qeng, which is the company that Mr. Gryphon started. And Mr. Gryphon is a version of Kang the Conqueror. That's his human alter ego. and he bought the building from Tony Stark himself. So this
Right.
company is a real company in the Marvel comics, and it is owned by Kang the Conqueror.
Which
Here's his
is,
building.
yeah, it's just even, but I think I saw a very good point. It said, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. How many times has Easter eggs in movies shown up in, like, you've got little Easter eggs in one movie or TV show that show up way bigger a year and a half, 2 years down the line. So
Mm-hmm.
we know that Kang's an Ant-Man. So maybe we're just getting a little ahead of ourselves by saying, "Oh, it's Kang. It's got to be Kang." And I will get into this later. I don't even think that they're gonna fight the almighty ruler of the TVA. I think since this is we'll get into it later, but it's just a little too easy at this point to call it Kang. And as you and I have talked about hundreds and hundreds of times on this show, Marvel absolutely loves the red herrings, and they will dangle something right in front of you 1,000 times, and then just to distract you from the 500 other little things that have been going
Mm-hmm.
on during the entire movie or series.
Yeah.
Um, that
So I almost wonder though if they're using this, and they will introduce him to us at the end, and they're using this show to
right,
set his power levels and make us really understand that, hey, he's this super powerful being. And that way, when we're introduced to him in Ant-Man 3, we already have an understanding like, oh shit, this is pretty serious. And then maybe even in Ant-Man 3, maybe they set up a losing movie for Ant-Man, a winning movie for
right,
Kang. I think
because
that'd be pretty sweet.
right, and we know that Marvel's one to do that. Infinity War was a losing movie.
Right.
After Infinity War, you and I saw that together, right? I believe.
We definitely saw Endgame together.
Yes. Okay, but
I think
anyway,
we
I
saw
remember.
Infinity War too.
I think we did too. And I remember kind of just looking at somebody, and I thought it was you, just kind of going, "Oh shit." They just like they just got their asses handed to them. We have no idea
Yeah.
what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
but like the whole thing with like the Kang thing, and like obviously the Easter egg of the building, Elias,
right,
the whole series has to do with his underlying stories in the comics.
yeah,
There are also other Easter eggs in this episode for him. So there's obviously things all over this void, but specifically there was a pyramid with a sphinx, which we know his time traveling spaceship looks like a sphinx. There was also the Ant-Man Easter egg of the yellow jacket helmet, and we
hmm
know that Kang's going to be an Ant-Man, so it's like there's all these things that are just like it makes total sense to do this and introduce him now.
right, and
And
I think
we will talk about it later when we give our predictions, but it makes a lot of sense. It makes too much sense at this point, and I
right.
don't like it.
Um, but I guess the question is though, at what capacity? I think that is the question we should be asking. I think he shows up. I might not have sounded like that, but I think he shows up in the show, whether that's
Okay,
at
yes.
the
Whether it's a
end,
post credit or at the very end of the finale or
right?
something, I agree. I agree. I think he has to show up. I think.
So I mean, I guess just keeping more into recaps. Holy shit, man, this show is awesome. um I've made the point a couple times now. The scoring of it is so beautiful. They set the mood so well with
Mhm.
the music that they're playing. And
Yeah.
as we know, Loki's got a lot of funny characters. They've done such a good job incorporating comedy into what we think is, oh shit, this things are getting really serious. And then Tom Hiddleston, make your Loki cracks a joke, or Sylvie, has a wisecrack, or with the rest of when they're in the King Loki's lair in the void. It's like there's tons of moments that made me laugh out loud. So they've done so good, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that this is truly one of Marvel's best pieces. I will go out on a limb, and I will say that in
You're gonna say despite what happens in the finale.
as up till now is what I'm
Okay.
going to say. This is probably they have a serious chance of making it into my top five. I will say that.
Wow. Wow.
However,
I know I said after episode 4, even just that standalone episode was the best thing they released to me since Endgame.
right.
I mean, I think that's pretty understandable. So
Oh,
definitely
absolutely.
as a series, I'll be interested to see once it's over as a whole where the whole thing stands for me.
Don't fuck this up. One thing I'm also surprised about is kind of just surfing the internet today. I didn't see a lot of people dissect when Sylvie was first touched by Eliath and she kind of linked with him. She got flashes of, city. I'm surprised nobody slowed that down, or maybe people did, and there was really nothing.
I've seen one video that slowed it down. I think it was Cosmic Wonder
Okay,
slowed it down to a frame by frame.
did they find anything interesting in there, or just what we saw at the
Um,
end?
they were saying that uh don't don't go crazy about this being
Right,
the Kingdom of Doom or Doctor Doom's castle because
right.
it's not going to be that. It's simply not. Uh, there is a castle in the comics that Kang the Conqueror lives in. It's just called Kang's Castle, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So it's not Chronopolis, the city that we see in the quantum realm. And that's kind of what throws this for a loop. Is like, is this the quantum realm? Because we see this castle is like on a floating rock surrounded by this like rainbow energy. And
Right.
it's, is that rainbow energy the quantum realm? And this is just what was in that bubble.
It
We'll
would
obviously we'll have to wait and see.
it would make sense. It would make sense for Eliath to be a manifestation of the quantum realm, though, considering he is, pretty much this all powerful being. And the quantum realm, as we know, is one of it exists neither in here nor there or when. It's kind of,
Right.
time is distorted in there, and in different places it's distorted more than others. I don't know, and I guess a lot of people don't really know the true identity of the quantum realm, but we do know it's insanely powerful, and it doesn't necessarily control time, but it definitely distorts time. So it would make sense that Eliath is a bit of a manifestation of this, super mysterious and somewhat powerful realm.
Yeah, it makes sense that a lot of this has to do with the quantum realm. They just haven't upright said it yet. We
Right.
know that that's how our other main characters have traveled through time, so it makes sense that that's how they're doing it here. They just have much more advanced technology to do it. The biggest thing with the whole where is this castle thing and is it Chronopolis, is it Kang's castle, is that in the quantum realm that shot in of the city in the quantum realm looks much more of like a city under a dome. It looks much more comic accurate to what like Chronopolis looks like.
Right.
And then we see at the end here, this is a castle on a floating rock. So
Just a
they
single
look
castle.
nothing alike. And they're kind of totally different things. Obviously, Kang lives in both of them, but appearance wise, like they're totally different. So,
Completely agree.
I mean, it could just be that it was far away off in the quantum realm, so it just kind of looked like that. And
Distorted a little
here's
bit.
what we're going with now. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm super interested to see what exactly it is.
All right. Well, what do you think it is? Let's get into it.
I think it's what's beyond the void of time.
Okay. No, I agree. Yeah, it was, and one thing that was also brought up on, one thing that was also brought up on Reddit today that I saw, there's still 10 plus scenes from the trailer left completely, that we haven't seen yet. So one,
But be careful because they might not even be in the episode. We know Marvel is huge on putting things in the trailer and them not being in it at all.
right.
So
So let's, I agree. Let's, we probably shouldn't, dig too deep into that. But however, there still are, a significant amount of scenes that they did put in the trailer that, haven't been on screen yet, which I think, I would say the number would probably be more like 15. And I would say only 3 of them are going to be in the final episode. So that's just something, something to just kind of think about. Also, another thing is, how is Mobius the only non-Loki appears to be and is the only one that we see that is not Loki?
I'm so glad you asked this.
Okay.
And he's not the only non-Loki because when I was watching, I thought the same thing too. I was thinking, is Loki or is Mobius a Loki? However, Loki asked the other Lokis, he said, has anyone here ever met a female version of us, the female Loki? And they're like, no, like, sounds terrible, sounds crazy. It's like, yeah, she is. When that other group of Lokis shows up, not all of them were Loki variants, because there were, I believe, one or two of them were for sure females.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so that, I think that implies that, like, and then they also mentioned when the car was coming, it's either cannibal pirates or cannibal something. So I think that was kind of a throw, like, hey, not everyone here has to be a Loki, but every Loki that comes here survives.
I'd like to see the cannibal pirates. I'll be the
Yes,
first to
I would
say
too.
I'd
I
like
would
to
too.
see a I'd like to see a good cannibal pirate standoff. Maybe Jack Sparrow drops by. Maybe they put him in the
Dude,
void because
they had the pirate ship
right. And so as
right
we
next
know,
to the
there was
UFO.
there was there was tons of, like, not only just Marvel comic and Marvel, like, MCU Easter eggs in this episode. There was a ton of
Yep.
Disney Easter eggs, which I thought was super cool. They're just kind of here, there, and everywhere with it, which kind of leads me to believe that, you know, they're just throwing shit out here at this point just to throw shit out there, which is cool. And this
Yeah.
was the place to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get into going over, who we think it is, what we think is going to happen, things like that, do you want to just do a quick, like, checklist Easter egg rundown? Because there were a lot
Yeah,
of really cool ones that
absolutely.
we haven't talked about
Absolutely.
yet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sweet. All right. So we talked about the Kang Tower, the
Yep.
Yellow Jacket helmet, the Sphinx, and I think that's it. So you
Right.
go ahead and run through a couple other ones.
Okay. The big one was the title of the episode. Through my digging today, Journey into Mystery was kind of Marvel's first stab into Norse mythology. We got Thor. That's where Thor first appeared, which is, as we know, that's how we got Loki. I will let you dig into that. You're the comic book guy, but that was one thing that I thought was super cool.
Oh, the title of the episode was the
Yes.
title of their first
Right.
comic. Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome. I actually didn't know that.
Okay,
That's
so yeah,
Yeah, that's incredible.
I don't know a ton about it. I just know that that was how Marvel got into kind of their Norse mythology, side of things, and got
Okay.
into
Yeah, so
that's
I
where
know
Thor
that,
first
like,
appeared.
all of their characters and, like, things that happen in the Thor and Loki stuff, like Mjolnir, Ragnarok,
Mhm.
Odin, all that stuff is, like, very, very Norse mythology accurate. So,
Oh, cool.
like, the Jotunheim,
Super dope.
like, all that stuff is, like, super, super accurate to the source material.
And then
So that's
everything
always really
else,
cool.
I don't
Um,
have for Marvel, but yeah, go ahead. What do you have for Marvel? Then we'll get into kind of other little fun things.
all right. So we see the Thanos chopper, the
Yep.
Thanos helicopter, and
Right.
that is in the comics. He actually flies around in it trying to fight Shield in the Thanos helicopter, and he loses and gets arrested
Uh-oh.
and taken away in a single pair of handcuffs. So, yeah, Thanos flew the Thanos helicopter, and it didn't work out for him so well. He got arrested in a police car.
That's and boy, how times have changed.
Oh yeah, he learned his lesson. Under that, we get the going off of that, since he fought Shield, we also see a Shield helicarrier that we've seen in Avengers and Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So that was just a really cool nod to the very grounded stories of Marvel, I thought. So
Yep.
super cool to throw that in. We also see it might not be the exact one, but a version of Ronan's ship, the
Right.
Dark Master. So
Right.
that was super cool. Obviously, we know that has a bunch of super cosmic and intergalactic meaning. So that was a pretty cool one to see. I am so glad that we threw this one in here. And when they're climbing down into the tunnel, wherever these Lokis live, we see a bunch of things buried in the dirt. And under Mjolnir, we
Throg.
get Throg. in a jar. And I'm so glad that they threw him in there. We thought maybe that alligator Loki was from the existence of the Throg Thor comic line. It's not in the comics, but we were like, maybe they're the same thing. But it's so funny, little frog Thor in the jar. And it actually sounded like Chris Hemsworth. I don't know
Oh,
if that was
that's
just me.
awesome.
I don't know if I just heard that, but it sounded like him, and I
I'll,
thought that was really cool.
I'll have to rewatch because yeah, it just sounded like, a high pitched voice, but I want to listen to that again because that'd be funny if he came in and that's the only thing he did the entire time was he just did a little voice cameo and played Throg.
Yeah, and they just like tweaked it a little bit. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's
And then
awesome.
kind of one of the biggest ones, which I think a lot of people are actually missing, and it's really tough because it's a very, very complex thing, a very complex character. They actually wanted to bring this character in Infinity War, but they were afraid that it's never been introduced, so no one would understand who it is or what it is. And there is a head of the Living Tribunal.
Okay, I wanted
So
you to get into this. Could you explain?
yeah,
I don't know who
yeah.
this guy is or what
So
this being is. So
yeah, so the Living Tribunal is like it's a Nexus being, very similar to the Scarlet Witch. So there's not variants of the Living Tribunal. There's only one. There's only one with all the multiverse. However, the Living Tribunal can exist in multiple different realities at the same time. So if you're having a meeting with the Living Tribunal in this reality, I can be having a meeting with them too in a different one. They could do that. And pretty much what they do is like they kind of just keep the multiverse in balance. They kind of like, if one timeline or one reality is getting way more stronger than another, they kind of balance it back out. Things like that. They're pretty standoffish. They kind of just exist and watch everything. And as Marvel moves on, we're gonna get a lot more of these characters like the Watchers. They simply just exist and watch everything that happens. So they don't interfere at all. They literally just watch. Uh,
so Doctor
so
Strange had a run in with the Living Tribunal, correct?
yes, yes. There was supposed to be a scene in Infinity War where he goes and talks to them and says like, hey, like, what's going on here? How can we stop this? Like, is there any way we can stop this? It was kind of supposed to coincide with the scene of him, doing the 14 million versions of what's going to happen.
Right.
That's what it was going to be. Like, he was going to go to
Gotcha.
them and say, like, there's no way you can let this happen to our reality. Like, it's way off balance, way off scale. And not only ours, he's going to be able to do this to every single one now. So that was going to be what it was. But I think it was just the Russo brothers said it was way too early to bring them in. Everyone would be like, "What the hell? What's that?" So yeah, so that was a really really cool, deep comic and like super cosmic Easter egg.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
A couple non-Marvel ones I had that I just thought were super cool. Do you know anything about the USS Eldridge?
I know it was a real ship.
So it was a real ship. It was in the U.S. Navy, sold to, I believe, oh God, I hope there's no history nerds on here. I believe it was sold to Greece. And there was a famous captain on the USS Eldridge. I believe he was in the U.S. Navy prior to us selling it to Greece. And he said that he was witness to the USS Eldridge teleporting through time, and they were apparently the US Navy was doing experiments with time travel and alternate realities. And this, I think Carlos Allende was his name, Allende, as they would say it in El Espinito. Um, he bears witness, put his left hand on the Bible. Everything said that they were doing experiments with time travel and traveling through dimensions, and it was ravaged by aliens. And the whole crew was killed, which we kind of see an homage to that when they're trying to kill Eliath. A bunch of sailors aboard are killed by a giant alien creature.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's kind of like a nod to the whole time travel thing, the variant thing. They
Yeah.
obviously that's where they must have ended up. So super cool. Polybius is a video game. Well, it's not a
Yes.
video game,
Yeah.
but
Go.
we
Go
see
ahead.
Polybius, which is a huge urban legend. There was a creepypasta about it. I know that's not the origin, but there's a ton of urban legend. It was, I believe, in Portland. It was this Men in Black type urban legend about this video game that they put in an arcade in the 80s, and it had psychoactive effects on a lot of kids. So I mean, what do you know about Polybius?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much, literally everything that you just said. I know. Yeah. People thought it was like a government conspiracy to like
Mm-hmm.
take control of the population in this video game. I think that that's super funny because I think there was always urban legends growing up being like, if you watch this YouTube video alone and stare at the screen for however long without blinking, you lose your mind, you go crazy. So there's always stuff like that. But when you get the government involved, it's like, oh, maybe. So I honestly didn't know about it until I started seeing it like in like trailer breakdowns and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. So that's a super super cool story there.
Yeah, just a fun little nod. And then also on the movie theater sign that they're driving by, um, oh God, he was a little Martian, but it was created originally by Walt Disney. And this little Martian guy, this was original, I mean, OG when Disney was first getting his legs. So there was a huge legal battle over this Martian with Universal, and Universal ultimately won, forcing Disney to focus on another main character, which is where we get Mickey Mouse. So super cool little kind of
Hmm.
homage to Disney's origins and stuff like that.
Now, was that Easter egg thrown in there as a Easter egg or a screw you to Universal?
Screw you to Universal, which I agree.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Wait, I
Awesome.
mean, so do you got anything else Easter egg wise?
Not really, not anything that I think would be too significant. I think we might as well just get into who we think it is that we're gonna find at the end of time, and really, yeah, episode 6 stuff, finale. Who do we think it's gonna be?
Okay. Do you want me to go first? Because I probably don't
Yes.
have. I have the most boring prediction. I think the last episode is going to be a bunch of Lokis fighting each other to find out who is behind all of this, because I'm sure they're all curious as well. And we know that not all of the Loki variants are dead, and they want power, and they're very power hungry. So I think it's going to be a lot of them fighting each other to get to where this main castle is, and they're going to find out it is in fact Kang at the end, and then it's going to cut to credits.
Okay. I disagree
Okay.
because I think the scene where the other Lokis broke into their bunker and they had that big fight scene there, I think that was meant to not only
Mm-hmm.
kill off a lot of the Loki
Seal some
variants,
fates.
but also show that there's only a couple of them that have had the character development and maturity to grow beyond what these Loki see as their glorious purpose.
Okay.
So I think that scene was really used to show that and reflect that and kind of move on. Like, hey, here's all your Loki variants. Here's the fun. But then, in the next episode, I don't think all of those variants will be as important.
Okay.
So yeah, that's just kind of my thought on it. However, I'm actually kind of in the same boat because I think it's going to be like an ultimate Loki variant that's behind it. Now, I think this because all of these shows have been so focused on these main characters and things like that. Like, WandaVision, oh my God, Mephisto, Mephisto. No, it's her origin story. You
Mobius is
know,
Mephisto.
stop it. He might be. Uh, Falcon and Winter Soldier, obviously super big character development for the next Captain America. And then this show is all about Loki and Loki's character arc and him being able to change. I don't think that they would just show us a massive new villain. Now, if they do go that route and make it like a master, like truly master Loki at the end of this, I think that it will be very similar to how Loki in Avengers was working for Thanos. This Loki is working for Kang. in like a very similar arc like that. So
Okay.
then,
Now, see, that makes a lot more sense than what I was reading today because, that kind of helps with the fact that, a lot of people are like, oh, it's all Loki controlling this. It's all Loki controlling this. Okay. But by saying that, you're also implying that Loki has full control over every single reality of everything, which
right,
is a bit much to,
right. I think it's too much for the Loki character.
right. And and we love him, and this is an awesome show, and I do like the character, but you can't. I mean, yeah. Okay, so I can see where you're going with that. That's actually really good. That's actually
Thank
super
you.
good.
Thank
um
you.
I didn't think that
Yeah,
deep into
obviously
it.
we've seen him do it before with Thanos, and that's
Right.
how they literally set up the biggest villain that they've ever had. So why not literally do it the same exact way?
The formula works, so let's keep doing
Yeah.
it.
And guess what? They could make 42 movies out of it.
Agree. 17 shows. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's actually super cool. You know, I don't know, man. And so I guess it would make sense though. Well, I guess why are they trying to prune Loki so bad then? If
Well,
Loki's behind it, so do you think he's
right.
just preventing other Lokis from taking over what he's got going?
So, yeah, so I'm glad you literally said prune because when we say Kang, we know that Kang has thousands of different versions of himself.
Right.
And it could be the version of Kang that in the comics is called Immortus. And
Right. I
Immortus
saw something about that.
is Nathaniel Richards in the comics, a descendant of Reed Richards. Obviously, we know every Kang is Nathaniel Richards. This one, however, is called Immortus. Now, one version of Kang the Conqueror said this about Immortus. I pulled up the quote. It said, he calls himself, now this is Kang talking about Immortus, who could be this version of Kang that's ruling the Loki that's ruling all this. Because you said prune. Why do they want to prune Lokis? He calls himself the master of time, the gardener of time, is more truthful. He prunes away the chronal branches deemed by others to be dangerous, reducing reality to the bloodless meadow. But that's not the way of warriors, of men. I say, let it be a forest, let it be a jungle. So it's literally saying timelines or variations that people powerful enough that he considers trustworthy say that, hey, this is dangerous. Let's cut it off. He just says, okay, go for it. And what do they call it in this show? They call it pruning. So he's Immortus is the gardener of time.
So
So
we think it's Immortus.
yeah, who's Kang?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. That's
But they could, of course, they do. Marvel does do this a lot of times where they just merge different versions of characters into one.
right.
So they'll probably just call it Kang.
Yeah. This is the MCU, not the comic universe, because,
Right.
and there's several thousands different versions of the fucking comics, and that's what I think super cool about them, and makes me wish I had gotten into them sooner. Is there's so many different versions of one thing, and yeah, that's that I've always thought that's super cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
great point,
that's kind
brilliant
of
point, Tommy.
my thank you. I think that's set in stone what I'm gonna go with is that it is a master Loki, but working for Kang the Conqueror.
I think he's right. I don't think I'm right. But I think my thing is I think we don't fight. I think we don't have a fight with this master at play. I think that's kind of
I agree. I agree.
right. I think our find the conflict is them trying to find out who it is. Along with Kid Loki, who we kind of glossed over the fact he killed his fucking Thor, which is
Oh, I
wild.
know. Yeah, we totally did. We
But
totally glossed over the fact that he goes, "Oh, I killed Thor."
right. And so yeah, he's like, "Dumb, the king, I fucking killed Thor." Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
All right, yep, this guy's the real deal. But yeah,
Yeah, we got Richard E. Grant being like, "Hey, respect the boy." Because why? Bitch, I killed Thor.
right. And alligator Loki sentenced Throg to a glass jar. But anyway, so yeah, I like I said, I think this is all just going to be them. The main conflict is just going to be, what is this? How do we get to the top? Who do we find out it is? And then I think last 10 minutes, the final act, it's going to be
Now we did skip over a little bit then of Mobius's side of what's going to happen in episode 6. Because last we see of him, he's going back to the TVA, and they're like, "What are you going to do?" He goes, "I'm going to burn it down."
Right.
Call back to episode 1 when Loki's saying, "I'm going to burn this place to the ground," and he's like, "Huh? Yeah, no, you're not." So now he's going to be the one doing it. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. If destroying that opens up the multiverse, who knows?
Right.
It'll be really cool to see how they do it, what exactly he does to set it on fire.
And something tells me that they're gonna get real close to death, and then something Mobius did is going to end up
Okay.
saving their asses, because obviously they're getting to whoever is pulling the strings to TVA, and Mobius, we might not see Mobius the entire episode, and then all of a sudden he appears and he's like, "Hey, I burn it down," and it's like they defeat whatever's at the end, and there's no real battle, or it looks like it's a short battle, looks like they're about to die, and then Mobius pops up and he's like, "Hey guys, what you guys been up to?" And he's like,
yeah,
like, "Oh, nothing," he's like, "What have you been up to?" He's like, "I destroyed it," So but yeah, I think that would be a super cool ending to it. I think he's still, we haven't seen the last of him. It's either going to open with Mobius, or we're not going to see him the entire time, and he's going to come swooping in the end.
I like that. I think I'd rather have it open up with him.
Oh yeah. Him ending it is a bit far fetched, and kind of.
Yeah. Now, I honestly
Wilson
only have one more question for
Okay.
you,
Right on.
and it is Mobius related. Are we gonna get him on a jet ski, either
God, I
in the
hope
end of
so,
it,
man.
or in like a mid-credit scene, post-credit scene?
Just him riding on a damn jet ski. Also, I think
They had to have known that it was gonna go this crazy, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like they were like, and that was, well, and it's funny because that was what they hinged, everybody being a variant on. It's like, hey, here it is, right out in front of your face. Mobius likes
Right.
jet skis. Why does he like jet skis? Nobody really picked up on it. I think it was the first episode, people kind of said, "Oh, what's that all about? Why'd they make that a point?" But no one really picked up on it, and thinking, "Oh shit, everybody's a variant in here." Also think possibility that Mobius is a variant of Owen Wilson, and then they pan to him at the end of the episode, and he goes, "Wow," and finding out that
He has to have one wow line. He has to.
It would really suck if they didn't, and I think Disney knows us well enough at this point that they're gonna, at the end or something, wow,
Yeah, he's gonna watch like Sylvie and Loki do something heroic, and he's just going,
wow. Comment your best Owen Wilson wows down below. We'd love to hear them and see them. Just write it. Just write the word wow.
We'll read it in our head.
Yeah, we'll do a giveaway for the winner. You win. You win a kiss from me. So.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm giving away kisses on this channel today, boy. All right. That's pretty much all I have in terms of predicciones. Anything else you think is going to pop up in the last episode?
Oh man, anything else?
Or anyone else,
Honestly, not really. I don't think they're gonna do some crazy cameo like Thor or Doctor Strange or anything like that. I think it's gonna be everyone we've met except for either the one or two people that are like ultimately behind it all.
Agreed. And I remember during WandaVision, I kept screaming and begging and pleading Marvel to give me Doctor Strange. I'm not going to do it this time.
Which we found out ultimately they were trying to do.
Right. So, but we know that Lizzie Olsen's going to be in the new Doctor Strange. Super cool. Super excited for that.
The only hero cameo I will accept is Tobey Maguire, Black Suit Spider-Man.
Agreed. And also,
Bully Maguire kills Kang the Conqueror.
Well, because in the Thanos chopper, didn't that have some Spider-Man ties and Hellcat or something? I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
Who knows what Loki's talking about anymore? We've reached that point in the episode where I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Alligator Loki. Do you have anything else to say about him? Other than that,
Don't be surprised if he's behind it.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. He's obviously the puppet master. Thank you. God, at
Yeah.
least we agree on
He's a
one
he's a
ending.
snake with legs.
Did you see Kate Herron's tweet about, because they have they have to have the stuffed alligator Loki to kind of like, a directional prop, kind of
Yeah.
everybody's eyes lead to it. It was a little blue guy. I thought it was cool. She said he was a diva. Thought that was funny. But yeah, man, I'm super stoked for next week. I have no fucking clue what's going to happen, truthfully. I can sit here and spitball my predictions. I have no idea.
None. It's fun. I love it.
I'm having fun.
Yeah. I mean, this is definitely the most fun I've had with any of the TV series. So
Yeah, we had fun, I would say, with WandaVision just because like it was super magic-y and it was like,
yeah, it
super
got weird. It got weird.
things got weird, and I think you and I especially like when things get weird. But yeah, so I'm super stoked about it. That's all I got.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, me too, man.
Okay, well, I guess do you want to
Yeah, close it out.
All right, let's do it. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, I'm Logie. He's Tommy. We love having you guys. Thanks for coming down. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube, like and subscribe and comment down below. Also, as Tommy mentioned at the top of the episode, we are doing another $50 Amazon gift card giveaway for this YouTube channel. We already did the Instagram one. Shout out to the winner, Prime Omar. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Hit us on the socials, New Era Nerds Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and on TikTok, new_era_nerds, where I always say that Tommy, aka the king of TikTok, the king of content, will be heading over there. Chat with him there. I also stop by from time to time. I'll reply comments, leave some comments, come talk to, the both of us. It's a good way to reach out to, Tommy posts some highlights on there. But yeah, hit us on those socials, keep up with the stuff, comment, talk to us. That's how we keep talking on here. So that's about it. Thanks for coming out, Tommy. Love you, buddy.
Love you too.